Listen to this track, bitch.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How are you guys doing today on this beautiful, miraculous day? You guys will be coming to this episode, I believe, on the Monday before the inauguration day, y'all. So we got a lot of things to talk about today, but more specifically, we're going to be talking about dating and dating expectations. So with that being said, first let me introduce myself to you guys. Thank you for joining me today on this episode of Etching Scripts 101. My name is Whitney, your beautiful host. I am 24 years old. I aim to come here to talk about a lot of things in life that's going on. Why? Because every single day we are experiencing this shit. There's no script to this shit, so we just gotta deal with this shit. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, first I just want to tell you guys how my day is going. Then I'm gonna talk about the news, and then we're gonna get into what you guys actually came here for. So today has been an interesting day, I guess. First I want to know, how are you guys doing? How's your day been? If you're coming from my YouTube channel, leave it down in the comments below. If you're coming from the podcast platforms, I guess, so like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you're coming from there, how are you doing? How's your life going? What are you doing right now that you're listening to this podcast? What exactly are you doing? Are you cleaning up your room? Are you on your way to work? Is it early in the morning? As of recently, I've been posting these episodes either Monday or Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I pray to God that it's a convenient time for all of you guys. But in any event, my day has been going well. I am currently unemployed again, but that's okay because it's no biggie because I moved, right? So I've been interviewing, and I'm just waiting to see if I got a job somewhere. And so now I'm in the in-between period. So as of lately, I've been trying to work on my podcast and on my YouTube channel, which is Whitney Script on YouTube. Go ahead and check me out. But anyways, I've been working on that, and I've just been trying to stay busy. So you guys hear that? You guys hear that motorcycle outside? Listen, I moved to where I'm not in the city, but I'm in the suburbs now, as opposed to before when I was in the bumhick of nowhere, right? So until I get a dynamic mic instead of a condensed mic, y'all are just gonna be hearing everything back there. So help your girl make some money and share this podcast. Share my YouTube channel as well with all of your friends, and I hope you guys enjoy. But regardless, pray that I get that job. But anyways, so regardless, I've been basically trying to keep myself busy because I don't want to get lazy, right? So my problem that I've noticed is that when I get lazy, I enjoy it, but I hate being lazy. So when I get into that rut where I'm just lazy and I don't want to do anything, I stay there for a minute. It's kind of like its own form of depression, whereas it comes up on me, and then I'm like, ooh, but do I want to be lazy today? Nah. But then all of a sudden I'm in bed until 12 o'clock. So as of recently, I've been setting my alarm clock at 8, and then I give myself some leeway time to scroll and watch videos up until 9:30, and then I start getting ready for my day. I do want to start getting ready for my day at 8. That was the goal, to get up immediately. But I've been liking this new routine as opposed to last week when I was staying in bed until 11:30. Given I was trying to get used to the time, but that's still a little bit late in my book. So now that we got over my day, and I also got some new shoes from Goat. I love them. They're gorgeous. They're the new 4s, the reds. So I really like them. But what else was I going to talk about today? That's pretty much what I've been going through in my life right now. I'm pretty much done packing or unpacking, excuse me. And this little desk that I got over here, I'm waiting for a makeup mirror and my makeup I was about to say utensils, but my makeup drawers. Yes. No. Cupboards, no, cups, whatever it is that you put the brushes in, whatever, the cup holders, whatever it is, whatever. I'm waiting for that so that way I can design my little makeshift whatever. Waiting for that, and we're just gonna see what it is, kind of move around the room a little bit, maybe add some decorations. I don't know. I also got white comforter, and I need a statement pillow, so that way I don't know, because white is boring, so I need something to kind of make something pop. But That's just, you know, how boring that was. You see, like, that's been my life as of recently. So help your girl get a job, right? Like, help your girl make some money. But aside from that, right, let's jump right into the news. So this segment we're going to be calling Are You Kidding Me? So that's what we're going to be calling this news segment, right? And a lot of things, the reason why I titled the news segment Are You Kidding Me? Because America is a trip. Yo, like, bro, listen, you know it, I know it, he, she, we know it, so don't even be offended, okay, at the title, because our news has been ridiculous. I've watched the news this morning, and as of recently, there was, well, not even like America's news has been ridiculous, but then so much ridiculousness has been going on. So I was watching the news this morning, and it was like a woman in Brooklyn or in the Bronx. I think it was the Bronx. She was in her own parking lot, in her own driveway, walking up to her house, and these two men, I don't know what to call it. They basically stole her keys and took her car. It was a rental car, praise God, right? Because I would hate it if it was actually my car, that like my car, you know what I mean, that I was paying for, messed up my credit for. Like, I'm not 25 yet, so I don't know, like, if rental cars mess up your credit. I don't think it does, right? All I know is that you have to be 25 to get a rental car. But regardless, right? It was just a trip. So like she was screaming. One of them hit her in the head with something metallic. Like, she was on the floor. There was none of the neighbors went to help. So I assume like nobody like heard, or like they got there in the last minute. But it was all caught on video. It looked like she lived in, like, I don't want to say a suburban area, but there was a lot of trees, and so it looked like she lived in an area where there was, you know, houses that weren't that close to each other. So I'm assuming that's where she was, but honestly, my prayers go out to her, because I know that is a traumatic experience. It looked like two guys were like in their late 20s, early 30s, and it also apparently that there was a third person who was driving a red minivan, who like basically dropped them off for them to do that to that woman. So it sounds like that they were planning this for a minute. Like, she had that rental car for a couple days, and they were like, oh, I want that car, I need to take it to go steal it or whatever. Which, going over like kind of like a side note, apparently Haiti has a lot of kidnappings, right? And so I guess with the whole times, like, a lot of people are not touring over there anymore, you know, with everything that's going on, and because of that they need money, and so people aren't going to Haiti because they are just kidnapping and ransacking and killing and just everybody. So I honestly, my prayers go out to the world at the moment, because we are all going through some shit and everyone's getting desperate. That's what I feel like what's going on in Haiti. Like, people are getting desperate because it's a third world country, like, it's a poor country. But I mean, not that I'm trying to give it an excuse or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying I understand. I'm just saying that I can understand their plight for wanting to make money. It's just like there's options, right? There's better options than what you're currently doing. But you know, I really hope that woman, I hope she had a car, you know, I hope the car was in the shop, which is why she needed a rental. I hope the rental people are understanding, because we watched that, all of us watched that video that was watching the 12 o'clock news. We all saw that video. So guys, I'm sorry for the background. Listen, when I get a dynamic mic, I promise you it's not going to be that big of a deal. But, you know, that was, if you're in the car, you're hearing cars already, so that's okay. But aside from that, I just hope everything works out in their favor, as it's been going for our political favor, right? So let's jump into now the inauguration that's going to be happening. I believe when this video is posted, it should be happening next week, 6 days from now, which will be the 18th. Yeah, the 18th, and then the inauguration is on the 20th. Let me make sure the inauguration is on the 20th. Yes, it is definitely on the 20th. So hopefully, you know, they're expecting rioters, they're expecting those fucking dumbass people to, you know, be ridiculous. And I really hope, I pray to God that none of the people like on my team, right, the leftists, I hope nobody tries to go and stop them. Let those dumbass white people do whatever it is that they want to do, right? Like, don't, like, this is not our fight, right? Because they're showing their asses. They want to call us animals, they want to call us monkeys. And let me do a side note, I'm not saying all white people, right? Obviously there was a sprinkle of black dumbasses in the midst, like that we saw in the pictures that were storming the Capitol. I understand, I get it, right? But that's what you call white behavior, right? And I'm not trying to say like all white people are like that, okay? Don't be coming up in my comments acting ridiculous. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what they're doing is called white privilege, right? So all those dumbasses out there who are going to riot, who storm the fucking Capitol, if they're going to try to stop the inauguration, I hope they get what's coming for them. I hope God rains down just a pillar of hot ass fire, just burning them up. Well, not even burning them up. They ain't even gotta die. I hope God just kind of like changes their mindset. I hope there's something that changes their mindset so that way they can become more understanding people. Because I don't remember anybody acting like this back in 2016 when, you know, fucking he got elected. I don't remember any of that shit happening. But here you are acting ridiculous, right? And I feel like I talked about this in my last episode, but like these we like I'm not even trying to get deep into it at the moment because it's just I'm tired, yo. Like I know that if I'm tired, the old heads are tired, everybody's tired. Like listen, I'm just tired of giving my energy to it because it's been proven. There's literally nothing else that we can say other than this. Like just showing them the video of the Capitals and then the dumbasses climbing the fucking wall. I'm like, that one video that I saw this one person that was like, they had like, okay, Whitney. Okay, listen. So there's this busted challenge going on right now. And this one person had a busted video, and then when they went down, they showed one of the rioters falling off of the wall. You know, like when you go down and then you're supposed to like reel into you having, you know, full beat of makeup and then you're doing the busted whatever. They showed one of the people falling off the wall. I was like, that's what your dumbass gets out here thinking you're motherfucking King Kong in this bitch. You better get your ass on the ground. What the fuck wrong with you? But anyways, so I'm sorry, that's funny as hell. Like when I saw that, I was like, yo, that's what you get. Cause like you really think that this is going to do something? Like you literally stormed the Capitol in the middle of them counting the electoral votes, doing what you asked. You tried to stop them. So clearly you don't care. Well, obviously you don't care about politics. You don't care about the Blue Lives Matter because the only thing you actually cared about was fucking the fact that we said Black Lives Matter. So you tried to change it. You don't care about the police. You don't care about nothing. All you care about, and I'm speaking to all you fucking Trump supporters that was out there that is ignorant, that really wasn't trying to be to have fucking equality, talking to you, all you want is your agenda. And it's been plainly clear. Like now I don't even have to say anything. Now I got receipts, right? So that's what's been going on in the news. I'm kind of afraid that Biden might get hurt, so I hope that he just does a virtual inauguration, which is sad, but at the same time, I mean, what were you gonna do anyways in the inauguration? Because, you know, COVID's around and we can't go there, like, right? Like, I'm sure some people can go there because it's, you know, it's a wide ass space, so you can socially distance. But I'm kind of afraid with all those white people with guns, and then people aren't afraid of white people with guns. So I'm afraid that like a lot of people are going to get hurt. And so I just hope that like Biden's in a secure area. Hopefully he will still be able to do it at, you know, the original location where it's normally done, but it's just broadcasted live. So I hope everything goes well. I'm praying to God that everything will go well. And, you know, let's just pray that everything goes well. So let's now jump into what you guys actually came here for. Well, actually, so let me say this. I was gonna say this last, but today that I'm filming this as a part of, you know, the news or whatever, like let's just talk about an update on me. I guess today is my grandmother's birthday. I'm happy for her. She is 75 years old, so God bless many more years in her future. As of today, Whitney, I was about to say my last name, but Whitney, I personally think that my grandparents are indestructible, they're invincible, they are immortal. They aren't going anywhere. So this 75 years, thank you God, thank you for so many more years that we will have with them. And now let's, after that, let's just jump right on in to what you guys came here for. So dating expectations, right? Dating is a trip. So in my own experience with dating, I have learned that I have gone through the process of having too many expectations, not having enough expectations, having zero expectations, and finally zeroing down the type of expectations that I want for myself in a relationship with others, right? And I learned this because of the many times that I have been played or hurt, or not even like played, just the overall experience of what dating kind of brings. So first off, to give you guys a little insight on what my dating experience is like, I don't have a lot of experience. I did not have a lot of experience, but until I became an adult, right? Until I started dating seriously, right? So when I was 11 years old, that's when I had my first, I don't even know if you would call that a boyfriend, but my first boyfriend, right? He was my everything. I thought I was in love. We had our first kiss and I was like, oh, it's meant to be. Like, I really love this dude. And it was puppy love, right? Because it was my first boyfriend. But I learned that in that relationship, he was embarrassed. Like, looking back, he was embarrassed to be like dating me because I was very weird when I was younger. Not only was I weird, but I was still growing into my forehead. So like, I still had a lot of things to grow into, right? And so like, he was a year older than me, and he was, he probably got clowned by a lot of people, like, oh, you dating Whitney? Why are you dating Whitney? And like, I'm not even gonna hold you, like, I know that I was someone who was kind of like off the wall, but like, aside from that, that doesn't excuse him being embarrassed to date me. I knew that he liked me, right? Like, I knew that. But that was a relationship that I'm grateful for that I had, because not only did it teach me that I am desirable, it also taught me that, guys are different, right? Like, guys don't think the way that we think. And that kind of stayed with me up until now, and it's going to continue with me, that men are just different. It went from guys are different to teenage boys are different to men are different. At the end of the day, like, men are just different. I don't know how to explain it. Like, sometimes I have to remind myself that even though they get older, at the end of the day, they're still a guy. Like, for example, my aunt was talking to her father, my grandpa, the other day, and she was like, don't you remember? And he was like, and I was like, sometimes I forget that at the end of the day, grandpa is a guy. Like, he is just, I don't know how to explain it. He's just a guy. And so with that, like, when I was 11 years old, I started expecting relationships to be kind of like what I saw reflected to me, right? Like, so this is before I've, witnessed any of my friends' parents or whatever. Like, I never really paid attention to them. I only paid attention to my grandparents, right? Because when I was 11, my mom wasn't married, and all I had to like view was my grandma and grandfather. And so during that time, I was just kind of like, I want a man who's going to take care of me like my grandfather takes care of my grandma, and like my grandma takes care of the household, right? And so when I first got into dating, that's I knew that I wanted that, but I also was looking for kind of like the butterflies, right? So I was like, okay, so if I want somebody or if I like them, I need to feel the butterflies. And that's kind of what I started expecting. Dating is supposed to be nerve-wracking, and so that is something that like nobody should have in their mind when they're younger, right? Because like, dating should not be nerve-wracking. Well, it is, if we're being honest. It kind of is, because it's kind of like, you don't know who the hell you about to meet. But it's also, if you think about it, the fact that you're meeting different strangers all the time, like, it's kind of dangerous. But like, that's kind of dragging it. I'm not trying to drag it, but aside from that, when I was starting to be a teenager and I was growing up, I was just kind of like, so what is dating like? Then after 11, I had a boyfriend who is now gay. But that's just like, I feel like everyone kind of has that experience, like someone who they know was gay, and then they dated in the who or not was gay, but or is gay now, that I was the cover up, basically. Someone who, or not even the cover up, or someone that like they thought that they wanted a woman or a girl, right? Because I was fucking, I think I was 12, but now they're not. And so when I found out that the person I dated was now married to a man, my sister was like, I saw that from a mile away. And I was like, am I the only one that didn't know? But at the same time, I was 12. I wasn't looking for guys like who might be gay. I wasn't looking for that. Why would I be looking for that? But all I saw was a guy who was interested in me, and all of a sudden I was interested in him, right? Like that's kind of how I moved, because the guys that I had a crush on weren't checking for me. So the guys that were interested in me, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. So this kind of transpired up into my teenage years, and I was I don't know how to explain it, but when you're a teenager, you just fucking ridiculous. Like the men that I dated when I was a teenager, I dated this one guy who I just did not like. Like I loved him as a friend, but he loved me, and I was like, ugh. I was so turned off by him. But because he was such a cool dude, I was like, I mean, I guess I'll try. Like I literally dated him for a day, and then I broke up with him the next day. And then I dated him for a month. Like I put him through ridiculousness. Like he should not have been messing with me. I was wrong in that relationship. But aside from that, like then I started to expect that the people I date need to be kind of like more in love with me than I am them. But then I started to notice that people were not giving me the time of day. So I was like, how do I get on the radar, right? Like how do I get on the radar of the people that I want? So I started to dress out more. I started to dress really tight clothes, even though like I was a fucking upside down triangle, so I looked weird. Like I didn't wear clothes that fit my form. I did this a lot, where I would like put on makeup on the bus, or I would come to school in clothes that my parents approved, but then take it off and then put it back on the bus, right? And so I vaguely remember that, because I remember putting on eyeliner on the bus and stuff like that, and I remember having the pictures of the clothes that I would wear. But the act of actually changing, I remember, oh, let me stop, I'm capping. I remember changing in the bathroom and putting on Uggs, because I remember wearing a hoodie, shorts, my beanie, and then Uggs, and my mom didn't approve because the shorts were too short, and like I wore sweats over it. I remember that actually. And so that was like trying to appeal to people who I was not on their radar. And even throughout high school, I just never got on people's radar, because I think it was obvious that I wasn't being authentic. I think it was obvious that I was just trying too much. I also wore like fucking bras that were double, what was the fucking Victoria's Secret plush 2 times your bra size cup things. Like I was also wearing those type bras, so my shits were like up to my chin, and like people were like, nah, they ain't her titties. And then when you saw me at gym when I took that bra off and wore a sports bra, they were like, where'd her titties go, right? Like they knew that there was something amiss here. Like nothing was adding up. So during that period, like even though I did date people, I did not date people that I actually wanted. I think once I left high school, I started to date people that I actually wanted. So after the guy that I dated that I was not really interested in, I started dating this guy when I was like 15, who like during the time that you're dating, you never really realize what they're about until the relationship is over. This guy that I was dating, I got caught sending him, this is some stupid shit, I should have never done this, but I got caught sending him pictures. I got caught kissing him on the couch. Like that guy really only wanted me for sex. And the thing is like he would tell me all the time what he wanted to do to me. He was like, oh, let's play 20 questions, and then all of a sudden they would be like if you ever seen that meme, like, oh, what's your favorite color? Triangle. How many guys have you fucked? Like that type of thing. That's him. And I just thought, my thing was that I was a sucker for funny guys, and he was a funny dude. So like I just liked hanging out with him because he was so funny, and like I did grow to have a crush on him. And so like dealing with him was a trip, because not only was I, expecting him to kind of be my man, but I knew that he had an expectation out from me that like I needed to give it up. And so I, like, when you're 15, 16 years old, I don't know what it is, but during that time you just get in this rut where you're just kind of like, I I'm ready to lose my virginity. Everybody else is doing it, so I'm ready to do it. But praise God, I did not give that boy a damn thing. Well, I can't say I didn't give him a damn thing because I sent pictures, but still, I didn't give him anything. Even during this time, can you believe, like, even when we went to the movie theaters, I wasn't allowed to go, like, anywhere with him unless I was with my brother or my parents was there, right? And, like, even though back to the story, right? Like, can you believe my mom is okay, let me frame this story, my bad. We're at a movie theaters. I don't remember what the fuck movie we were watching, but we were at the movie theaters, right? My mom is in one row. Like, we're in one row, right? Think of we're in row D, right? She's at seat 1, and out of the whole row, there's 20 seats. We're in seat fucking 12, right? 11 and 12. We're, like, in the middle of everything, and my mom is, like, right here. He really tried to finger me while we were in the movie theater and my mom was over there, right? And my mom was not only was my mom over there, but my little sister was with her. My little sister had to be how she was born in 2010, right? Like, how old was I? She had to be like 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old, and she was running in the aisles from my mom to me, and he was trying to finger me in that process. I dead was like, can you just wait a second? Like, can you just stop? Because he was trying to do it through the jeans. Like, that's the type of experience that I was experiencing as a teenager. I was like, this is not for me. But I kept thinking that I had to do it because that's what he wanted. So I not only learned throughout that experience was that, like, okay, so in a relationship, you give up things. You have to compromise, right? Like, you have to compromise. And in order to do that, you have to give up certain things. And so because I was giving up certain things, I was like, this is what majority of the relationships have to be. And so after that relationship, right, I dated a guy that was boring as hell. Like, he couldn't kiss for nothing. Like, he would kiss, like, he would open his mouth and close it and then, like, lick his tongue in the process. I was like, what the fuck type of shit is this? And I think I was like 16 when that happened. We dated for like a month and that was it. That was a relationship that I often forget about because he was so boring. I don't know what was going on. And then after him, so after him, that was the end of my, like, high school relationships, because the guys that I was dating never really came from my school. Only one of them came from my school, but the guys that I was dating came from my church. And so everybody was kind of like, oh, you guys aren't boyfriend and girlfriend, you're just friends, you're just hanging out. And I'm like, okay, whatever you say, Brenda, whatever makes you feel better at the end of the day. So now we're going into my adulthood, and for some reason I just continued to date narcissists. Like, no, I have to be honest, there was in my adulthood I dated one person who, like, where I felt like everything was fucking phenomenal, but we'll get into that, right? So in my adulthood I came across this one person who I felt was like, it was the first time that I was in love, and during that relationship I learned a lot. I learned that, you know, I can no longer compromise myself. I learned that I was compromising the fuck out of myself just to meet the expectation of the whole overall compromise in a relationship, right? So I was giving up a lot of my own happiness. I was giving up a lot of me to meet their needs, right? And so in that relationship, can you believe that this person told me that I don't bring anything to the table? He dead was like, oh, you bring the basic things that would even get you knocking at my door, but you don't bring anything to the table. And basically he was like, I was like, I bring security. What you mean? I'm not gonna cheat on you. And he was like, oh, you don't bring security. I feel like it's chaotic. And really what he was getting to was the fact of, like, oh, I don't make any money. But we were in college in this point, and I wasn't a STEM major. I was an English major who was trying to go to law school. But then, like, because I was wavering on going to law school, this narcissist convinced me not to go to law school, because they were like, you're going to go to law school, you're going to be in a whole bunch of debt, and then you're going to, you know, come out and only make like $60,000 a year when I'm making $60,000 right now. You need to change your career. And I'm not gonna put all of the blame on that person, because I only give them like 20% of the blame, because I was wavering in my career anyways, and I was just kind of like, because I was afraid that I wasn't going to do it. And so when I confided in the person that I was in love with, they knew the influence that they had on me. So they said what they needed to say so that way I could make money by the time I was 25 years old. These are the narcissists that I was dating, right? Like, I dated a guy who dead told me I had to make a certain amount of money by the time I'm 25. I wouldn't have been done with law school. Like, I think I would have been just coming out and then maybe working for like a year, but I don't know if I would have, I feel like I would have still been in law school or like graduating, right? So with all of that, I've learned that, like, oh, I've said this already. I've learned that, like, my expectations throughout my relationships have definitely gone from like the end of the spectrum to the top of the spectrum to all over the place. Like, I had no expectations to a whole bunch of expectations, and in that serious relationship, I myself was wondering, like, you know, I just can't meet what they want. And really and truly, what they wanted was somebody else. And I didn't see that until I got out of the relationship, right? Like, a lot of the times they were telling me, like, oh, adults do this and that, right? But you're not an adult because you're not doing this and that. So I tried to meet that expectation. But what I didn't learn was that everybody is different in every single relationship, and they require different things. For me, I just required peace. Like, I just wanted someone who loved me, who was okay with everything that I was doing, as well as them. And I was expecting growth. That's like the number one thing that I expected in my relationship, or my relationships in general, was just growth, because we were young. We're not going to be fucking millionaires. It's like only the 1% becomes millionaires by the time they're 20, right? And like, even though like people can do it, I knew that it was not going to happen for me like that, because not only did I not want it like that, I was not gearing my life towards that. Like, yeah, $1 million would be cool, but I wasn't trying to work hard to be a millionaire by the time I'm 21. I wasn't doing that. I didn't care about that. So while I was an adult and I was doing everything and anything for, you know, my relationships, I was starting to realize that I am draining the mother hell out of myself. When you're pouring all of yourself into one specific, you know, person and not getting that in return, it's called draining. You are draining yourself like a motherfucker. And I'm gonna tell you, like, I drained the hell out of myself. I gave up my happiness for someone else's happiness. And even though, like, you hear about people doing that for like their kids and for their partner as well. You hear about people doing that to make the other person happy. But if it gets to the point to where you're just exhausted from making them happy, then I think it's time for you to go. Like for me, in my relationships, I truly believe that you're not supposed to give up until you've done everything possible in that relationship. Like, love means that you're going to keep trying as hard as you possibly can until there's nothing left for you to do, right? And I also believe that there was no giving up in this bitch, where like I now see it differently, where it's not necessarily you're giving up, but you're more so letting go of the toxic nature. You're letting go of what is not making you happy. You're being selfish. And so now at 24 years old, where like I have experiences under my belt, I've been in 2 serious relationships, and I've been in a relationship that was completely like ridiculous, and I've been in a relationship that was phenomenal but just didn't work out, right? So like in these relationships, I've learned not only a lot about myself, I've learned that, Whitney, you don't require a lot in a relationship. What I require, I'm about to lay it out for you guys, right? What I require for me and my relationship is a good time. I love having a good time. It doesn't matter what we're doing. I think my love language is quality time, right? Like you could be playing your video games and I could be sitting on your lap doing my own thing, or I can be on the bed doing my own thing. That's quality time to me. I don't like being alone, and I think it's because I grew up in a big household where I don't like being alone. Like, I don't like being the only person in the house. That scares the fuck out of me, right? Like, I want someone else to be in the house with me. So that transpires to my alone time as well. I don't like having alone time by myself. Does that make sense? Like, I don't like my alone time, say getting my nails done or something like that, I'm with other people, right? Like, there's other people around there. But like, say I'm at home and I'm reading a book, I would want someone to be in the house with me, or I would want them doing their own thing or whatever, you know, whatever. Like, I just don't like being alone. And that's not necessarily like I'm saying like, oh, I'm lonely or anything like that, but I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I would rather have someone there to do their own thing while I'm doing my own thing, if that makes sense. So I like quality time. I also really like reciprocation. And not like, but like I require reciprocation. Like I don't want to give all of myself to you and you're not giving, or not even that. Like I don't like giving all of myself to the relationship and you're not giving all of yourself to the relationship as well. Like for me, if I love you, how do I put this? Like I don't fall in love quick, but I know what makes me fall in love with somebody. And what makes me fall in love with somebody is seeing that they care about me, seeing that they actually, want to grow with me, and seeing that their personality is nice, right? And so like I like a man who knows that they are how do I put this? I like a man who knows that he's a sinner but is trying to be right with God, right? I like a man who knows that he has areas to work on, right? I like a man who is goofy, who would have a good time with me, because I don't take shit serious. Like shit don't be bothering me like that. Like if I get upset, I'm gonna be upset for like maybe at most 10 minutes, depending on how heavy it is, and then I'm done. But like depending on how heavy it is, it might bother me for a couple days, but like it literally depends on how heavy it is, right? Like I really just don't be bothered by nothing. Like why spend your time being so angry when like all you gotta do is handle the problem and call it a day? If you can't handle it right then and there, then you just need to figure out what like the steps to get that handled. And for me, like I deal with a lot of my different various anxiety issues, and so for me, I've gone to a lot of not a lot of therapists, but I've gone to therapy to where I'm able to handle that. And because of what I learned in therapy, that's how I've been handling everything in life, including my relationships and my expectations. So when I get anxious, say my biggest thing with my anxiety is social anxiety. So when I know that I am going to be in a social event, I remind myself, hey, like just be yourself, right? And so for me, I think this also happened with age, where I just no longer really give a fuck what people think about me. Like I'm just so over it caring what people think about me. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, well, you're either gonna like me or you're gonna love me or you're gonna hate me. Like as so long as I'm myself and I'm not compromising my character, I'm good. And that's really all it's come down to be, right? And so in a relationship, that's how I handle every issue. So long as we do what we need to do, if there's still an issue arising, we need to handle that. We need to talk about that. If you don't want to fix it, then we need to talk about where this relationship is going. Because if you're not willing to handle and tackle the issues that we have, then I'm going to peace out and find somebody who is willing to handle the issues that we have and grow. Because if you don't handle that, you're not growing. So that whole rant, right? Based off of that whole rant, I've learned a lot while dating and my dating expectations. I talk a lot, but how do I put this? So I've learned a lot of lessons, and I've written it down because I kind of like writing down like key points so that way I stay on track and not go ridiculously. But for my lessons, right? Like I'm gonna just look at it. Why not? For my lessons, I learned that I am setting my own expectations for myself. How do you expect yourself to react in this relationship? How do you expect yourself to be in this relationship? Are you okay with that? Because while you're looking out for different various toxic behaviors, you have to be honest with yourself. What are some toxic behaviors that you have that you need to fix? And so for me, I can be clingy to the point to where is it overbearing? I've never been told it's overbearing, but I think it's overbearing, right? Or like I have some insecurities where I feel like I may be a bother to somebody, right? And that can be annoying to somebody else, where they're constantly being like, Whitney, you're not a bother, you're not a bother, you're not a bother. Like that can be annoying. Boom, my toxic trait. Like people have a love-hate relationship with my annoying side, because it's like it's funny, but other times it's like it comes at the wrong moment, right? And so I need to fix that for me, because like sometimes I just need to read the room, right? And so that's what I learned about myself and the type of expectations that I should hold for myself, right? With obviously within reason, because like at the end of the day, we need to be authentic. We need to be real with ourselves, yo. Like you have to be honest. What is your toxic trait, and how do you expect that to transpire in your new relationship? how are you going to handle that? Like, sometimes, how do I explain this? Like, my first serious relationship, I tried to tone down my annoyance because I knew that it would get him like crazy, right? Or another thing, like, he thought I always had an attitude when it's just like the way that I talked. Like, I'm like, I don't have a fucking attitude. Like, why are you so fucking sensitive? Get out your own ass, right? Like he dead thought that I always had an attitude, and that would start arguments because I would be like, I don't have an attitude. I'm just telling you, don't run a red light in my car. Like, things like that. Like, I had to learn that, like, one, stand up your ground as well, but also there's a way to talk to people. Some people aren't going to handle that very well. And so on the flip side, in my second most serious relationship, I learned that, like, the way that I talk is not a problem. So it's really dependent on who you're with, reading their room, so to speak, reading how they handle different things and how you should change your tone when addressing serious things with them. Does that make sense? But also, it's not compromising who you are at all. Because, like, for me, I want the blunt, honest truth. Don't sugarcoat nothing. Sugarcoating shit pisses me the fuck off. Like, if you sugarcoat anything, it literally is gonna make me, or if you lie to try to make something better, I'm gonna blow up on you for lying. I'm not gonna blow up on you for what's the actual problem. I'm gonna be mad because you disrupted my trust. To wrap up this podcast, this episode, the expectations from me, myself, and I in different relationships and pretty much everything is that I'm no longer gonna compromise myself. Obviously, like, I'm gonna be me, myself, and I. And if you don't like it, then I mean, you don't have to stay, bro. Like, you don't gotta stay with me. You really don't. So that's one thing. Like, I'm not gonna compromise myself. Trust. I'm big on transparency, not just honesty. Honesty is telling somebody something but not being the full complete truth, right? You're being honest to a certain extent. Me, transparency, I need everything clear. I need to know everything from day one. I need to know it, not even from day one, just I need to know everything. Tell me the truth, be blunt, don't lie. Like, that's pretty much it, right? Like, if something wrong is happening, you say, Winnie, yo, I gotta tell you something, and I need you not to flip out because this is some serious ass shit. And I'll be like, oh my god, what the fuck happened? Like, if you come at me like it's some tea, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, what was really good? Like, what's weird? Tell me, what's up? And if they tell me, be like, yo, like, I kind of cheated on you last night. Like, I'd be like, thanks for telling me. Like, what? Then I'd have a bunch of questions. But so long as you tell me the truth, then I know how to continue forward. Like, if you lie and say some shit like, I had a nigga tell me this, I slipped up and kissed her, then I'd be like, what really happened? I slipped up and I had sex with her. Yeah, that's what really happened, you know. So that is my expectations in relationship. That's my growth in dating. That's my growth and what I learned from dating in general and how I built my own expectations. So like I said, right, I like transparency. I forgot what I said. I won't compromise myself, and also I like reciprocation. If you love me, show me. Right? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm draining myself. Like, as much as your cup is gonna be runneth over, my cup needs to be spilleth over as well. And that's just what it is at the end of the day. And so with that being said, right, like, I hope that I have put some things into different perspective for you all when it comes to dating. I know that, like, I don't want to sit here and say that I don't have a lot of experience, because I have a hell of a lot of experience. Listen, 2 niggas is enough. But no. But like, I really was hoping that, like, I wouldn't have to date again, right? Like, I'm in a new area now. I have to learn the culture, relearn the culture, right? Like, and then I have to learn how niggas date up here. Like, I don't want to go through that process again. And like, I wasn't in my last relationship solely because I didn't want to go through the process again. Like, I love the nigga, but like, it is what it is, right? Like, you get thrown into different situations that hold different expectations, and you have to maneuver as such. You have to maneuver in a way that makes you happy. Now, I need to wrap up this episode because there's something going on in my room and I have no idea what the hell is happening, and I'm not about to freak out. But listen, that's basically what I was going to be saying, right? You have to maneuver in a way that makes you happy. So I hope I helped you guys today. I hope I put some things into perspective today as you guys are going to continue dating, as you guys are going to start dating, or whether you're in a long-term relationship. These are things that you have to talk about. You have to talk about your expectations in a relationship. So with that being said, pray for your girl, because I don't know what the hell is going on in the corner. There's something rustling in the corner, and I'm in New York. I hope it's nothing serious. So thank you guys for joining me today. Pray for your girl. Hope it's nothing serious. And I hope I helped you guys out in any way possible. Don't forget to hit up my email. Don't forget to, follow me on all my Instagrams and stuff. My Instagram is etchingscripts101. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast if you're not subscribed already. Thank you guys today, and I'll see you next time.